if sport, and particularly GAA, has become too competitive for younger kids. Some people suggesting that maybe there's too much of an emphasis on winning, too much an emphasis on competition, and that leaves certain kids out in the cold. What do you think here?
I suspect it's true, and in fairness to organisations like the GAA, I think they do their best, or maybe not their, I don't know if it's their best, but they certainly make efforts towards reducing competition for younger kids to keep them all involved. But as a former kid who wasn't particularly good at sports, I was the person, and you still remember being the last person picked for teams and stuff like that, because I wasn't very good. The competition element frightened me and put me off competitive sports and made me not want to keep them up. And I think obviously this competition is great and we all follow teams and we're all into that, and that's good. But the bigger picture is keeping kids involved, participation, taking part, the exercise, the healthy stuff that comes from a lifetime of being involved in physical activity and sport and all of those things. And I do think that the competition element can put some kids off, because being left on the sideline and not getting game, or being the last one picked, or comments that are made about you being rubbish or running I think someone said I ran like a duck once. I think I can remember that. Things like that, they put you off. Shane is looking at me with pity. Shane, who was good at sports, is looking at me with pity in the studio. So I'm just being honest. I wasn't the kid that was good at sports, and I was the kid that was probably left on the sideline. And it definitely put me off, and I suspect I'm not unusual, because a lot of kids aren't very good at sports.
Yeah, I'm in two minds on this story. I'm really not sure. And look, I coach an underage team. We have 66 girls, I think it is, in our club at the moment, under 15. And look, as a coach, it is something we need to constantly check ourselves. Like, you do get caught up in we need to win this game, and you do have to stop and go, actually, do you know what? It's not the end of the world, and it's really. And I hope our philosophy is about getting girls out to play and sticking with it and staying with it. And we've been reasonably, I can only speak for our own club, we've been reasonably successful in that. And we have 4 football teams and 3 camogie teams in our age group, and there is a place for everybody in our team, and I hope that is the philosophy. I think the GAA is pretty good at it. I think, say, compared to soccer, I think underage soccer, particularly in certain clubs, unless you're really good, they don't want to know you. I don't think that's the way it is in GAA.
I remember reading an article by Jen Hogan last year, and it was something along the lines of that adults on the sidelines kind of reliving their youth and fighting proxy competitive battles.
It does happen.
We're putting kids off playing.
And that shouldn't happen. Kids should not be left standing on the sidelines, and it's something we do not do. I know in the field.
You're really interesting, because you actually walk this walk. You actually train
sorry,
kids.
now hang on a second. I'm not saying I'm perfect, and sometimes I get caught up in.
I have no skin in this game. I don't. But you see, that's the thing. I don't take part in sports anymore. I don't have anything to do with it, and all the activity I take is individual. It's walking, it's cycling, it's gym based. It's that kind of thing.
And team-based sports I think are so important, and it's brilliant. It's brilliant that girls are playing team-based sports. The one thing I would say about the GAA is I can't remember the age. It's funny how quickly once you're out of that you forget. Up until the age of 10 or 11, it's not particularly competitive.
I don't even think they keep score.
They don't keep score. Teams are not streamed. It's so everyone's divided up. Yeah, and the streaming thing, I was unsure about. But I think the reason there is streaming and it has to happen is if you get particularly stronger players playing against not so strong players.
I wouldn't be against the streaming thing, because
then they don't get touches
streaming
on the ball.
in my day too. Yeah. And I remember we played volleyball and we played basketball in my school. It was mixed school, but those were the girls' sports. And I was on the B team for basketball, and I much prefer. And sometimes they made me play up onto the A. And I hated playing up onto the A because I was the worst person on the court. Whereas when I was playing on the B, I could.
Well, you're getting more touches and all that kind of stuff.
Well, it was more I didn't look like such a goof.
But it's also you're getting more touches and you're going to improve that way. Whereas if you're playing against particularly strong players, you're not going to improve.
Look, I think this is an issue for parents, because parents, it breaks their heart when they see their kid come home dejected from sports. And also they want their kids to play sports a lot of the time, and yet the kids are saying, I don't want to go anymore. What should happen? What do you think should happen around competitive sports for kids? Are we getting it wrong?
We do need a bit of competition. Kids want competition. Kids want to be on a winning team and so on.
Competition is in us as people.